In this quick tutorial, I'm going to show you how to Dockerize Selenium. Actually, I found this solution while I was working on interview project. The task was to create headless scanners that will crawl valuable data from one of freelancer website. So Dockerizing the scanners is really useful to handle continuous execution, as well as it makes the project professional and almost production ready. So let's not waste time and start by creating a new Docker file. It's going to be a very short video, hopefully, because there are not too much stuff here, just simple configurations. Next, we are using Python 3.7 Alpine, which is very lightweight image and highly recommended to keep the size as small as possible, and usually it's safe in terms of compatibility. And then Python unbuffered is an environment variable, which means that the Python output is transmitted directly to the terminal without being buffered. Next, we are going to install our dependencies by copying our requirements.txt into the Docker image, then we will run the pip command to start the installation. Next, we are going to make a directory within Docker image that we can use to store our application source code. So basically it creates an empty folder on our Docker image and then it switches to that as a default directory. So any application we run using our Docker container will run from this location. It copies the app directory from our local machine to the Docker image. And that's all for the Dockerfile. Yeah, it's very short and simple. After that, create a requirements file. I will add Selenium and Beautiful Soup libraries here, two legends of web scraping. Now create a Docker Compose file, and the first line of Docker Compose configuration file is the version of Docker Compose that we are going to be writing our file for. And then we define the services for our application below. So I will define the Selenium here, and it pulls this standalone image. Port is going to be 4444, and make it always restart when the Docker is up. The next service is app. This will our working directory. We will include Python files there. We name the service app, and then we are going to build this section of the configuration by setting the context to dot symbol, which represents our current directory that running Docker Compose from. Below that, we are adding volumes, which allows us to get the updates in real time that we make to our project into our Docker image. And finally, define the commands that's used to run the application inside the Docker container. We will create this file. In a second. And last thing is add depends on configuration. Great, now let's create our app directory because Docker will copy the content of this folder. In here, create a new file named bot.py. We will take a screenshot of python.org website as a proof that it works. So let's first import sleep model, then we will need desired capabilities model, and finally import WebDriver. Well, before performing the automation, our app service should wait until Selenium service becomes available. Actually, we added depends on configuration to Docker Compose file, but sometimes it just fails unexpectedly. That's why I will make the execution to sleep about 5 seconds. Next, let's define our driver, and here we will use WebDriver.remote to connect the remote driver that we configured in Compose file. And the address is Selenium port 4444 /wd/hub. Try to visit this address in your browser and you will see the log stuff there. And even you can manage cookies and sessions and this stuff. After that, we should define desired capabilities. this argument because the remote driver expects this configuration once the connection established. And finally go to the python.org and simply take the screenshot. So that's it. Now let's build our project and then we will run it. So it took screenshot of python.org, which means it's working. Overall, the main objective was to dockerize Selenium, and it's really useful because by using Chrome driver, you can actually execute your automation in different operating systems, like in Mac, for example. But this remote driver stuff helps you to run it without any dependency errors. So, what about interview project?